Good afternoon and welcome to Real Talk with Tamara. As you guys come into the room, please do hit the like button. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. I hope that you guys are doing okay on this afternoon. I know that I am. I always express the importance of hitting the like button because the like button helps to keep the video on the algorithm. Okay, so like, share, subscribe, comment, all of those great things. Okay. I want you guys to know how much I appreciate you so much. All of my old subscribers, all of my new subscribers, all of my future subscribers, I show you guys so much gratitude. Okay. As you all join the channel and make sure you join the membership. Okay. I wanted to talk about, young doves artists are continuously going up. Okay. Young doves artists are continuously going up. Okay. And it makes me extremely proud because I think about the Memphis scene, okay, as it relates to a lot of the rappers around Memphis. And as I always say, that a lot of talented rappers come from out of Memphis. And so it's just a lot of the great pickings as it relates to that. And I think about Young Dolph's artists who he taught them the independent route, okay? And a lot of people thought that they would fall off, when Young Dolph was, when, his untimely death, because of his untimely death. And I've always said I do believe that that was also one of the reasons that that happened because Young Dolph, they wanted to take him out anyways, but they was jealous of the young men also that Young Dolph was signing from out of the hood and teaching them the independent route if they had the work ethic, right? Teaching them the independent route and helping them to get create generational wealth. And so when I look at them now, like Kenny Money, Key Glock, um, I think about Big Moochie Grape, who was just released. Did I say Key Glock? Snoop Bands, Paper Route Wu. When I think about all those young men, it makes me proud. Consistently representing Young Dolph, picking up the pieces and moving on and making Young Dolph proud, showing other young artists that you can, hey, you can have your way doing it the independent route. Paper Route J Fizzle, I had almost forgot about him. That's Young Dolph's cousin. Just doing it the Young Dolph's way. And whether people say it or not, it's a lot of Memphians that are proud of those young dudes as they continuously carry the spirit of Young Dolph, right? I know that CEO Jizzle is not officially paper route, but I have always said that I really just hope that, you know, that I really just hope that Daddy O would sign CEO Jizzle, because as I've said, and I will continue to say, I feel that CEO Jizzle is the next big thing to come up out of Memphis. Okay. And so, like I said, as I see them, I've always said that Kenny Money kind of reminds me of Young Dolph as far as, being more in your face with it. I think as far as his personality, the way he flex and stuff, he has like a loud flex like Young Dolph had. Key Glock definitely has his swag because Key Glock, we saw Key Glock with him more, okay? And there are a lot of things that he does that reminds me of Young Dolph as far as his style and all of that, but he has a quiet flex, right? And so as I see them continue on, and they did not allow that to stop them. I can remember when Key Glock, when this first happened, right? And everybody was wondering, where is Key Glock? What happened to Key Glock? Um, a lot of people was starting to say, well, since he's not saying anything, he's not, we haven't heard from Key Glock. Is he involved? Not one time did I ever believe or think that Key Glock was involved. I can remember like maybe a month or so, 2 months after he started going live, he started talking about how he needed to get out of the house. You could tell that it had taken a very big toll on him. And when he did his first interview, it really just made me feel horrible for Key Glock because I could see in the interview, when the interviewer asked him about Young Dolph, how he would drop his head and stuff. And so, with them being such young men, I have children that are the exact same age as Key Glock and them. It was really, I understand how, even though they are adults, young adults in age, they're still kind of like kids at heart, right? And but to see them pick up the pieces, because as I always say with Kenny Money was one of those artists that I didn't even know was on um pre Paper Route Empire. And I don't know if he had just signed or what, but hey, it seems to me I always watch the ones that come from the back and push their way to the front. Kenny Money started he had a hustle, because even when people was talking about Kenny Money, and they would, they was like, well, Young Dolph got an artist named Kenny Money. He was still having motion, he was still doing shows, he was still getting money and stuff. But I had not heard of him. And then he started dropping just that hot stuff. And he had the work ethic. Key Glock took them on tour with him, and they turn it up. And so I know, I believe that Young Dolph is proud of what his artist is doing, leaving his legacy, behind, them continuously putting out good music. Hey, regardless of what people say, them boys is getting money. And so when they book shows, they have people in those shows that's selling out those shows. So folks can't say they ain't got no motion, because they is definitely selling out. Okay. So I just wanted to talk about that, because I was sitting looking at Instagram and just seeing how they're continuously dropping music and staying out the way and doing their thing and getting money. I can remember when Mia J did one of her first interviews after Young Dolph was after his untimely death. Mia J was saying that, when the lady asked her what Young Dolph want, and she said that Young Dolph would tell his artists to get to the money. And that's definitely what they have been doing. As I said, it's not like they was left completely handicapped, because Daddy O was there and has been there with Young Dolph from the very beginning, you guys, from the very beginning. As I reiterated before, Daddy O had, you know um Daddy O had helped to fund Young Dolph, right? Had money, long money, and him and Young Dolph started getting money together. He was more like the funder, although I'm sure because they was there together, he learned the business. But Young Dolph was the visionary. He's the one that we saw out front more. Daddy O has always been in the background, and the good thing about it is he's still in the background, and it's a good thing that they have him to reference. They still have a wealth of that knowledge that they can refer to and go to. You know what I mean? And they're still quietly in the background working with them and helping to keep everything afloat. Hey, I never had any doubt, especially when people talk about the type of how Daddy O was getting money in the street and stuff. I never had any doubt that it could continue on. I never had any doubt about that. And so to see them still having doing the turkey giveaways and things of that nature around Memphis, doing the exact same thing that they was doing as if Young Dolph was still alive, that makes me very proud. And so that's one of the reasons why when I see people start putting stuff in the atmosphere, when the unfortunate death of Yo Gotti's brother. Hey, I know we all had our things to say about how they was trolling Young Dolph and all of that, and it was in my opinion that he would be, well, not in my opinion, he was gonna go to jail pretty soon, because he was involved in Young Dolph's death, also, in the assassination. But when he was taken out like he was, of course, with me being a human being, I don't wish that up on anybody's child. As I said, with me being so sensitive, I didn't, just seeing his picture circulate on the internet and seeing his mother kneel down over him. If I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy, knowing that your child is no longer here, I can only imagine the helplessness that she felt. And so you didn't see me trolling that because I don't play about that because I don't wish it up on anybody's child. What I wanted was for there to be justice, right? I feel like if a person is taken out, there is no true justice. That is just my opinion. And it's so unfortunate. I'm not saying this about Big Jug, but people do things and they participate in these crimes and things of that nature. And then sometimes I feel like because they don't want to go to jail for the rest of their lives. And I'm not talking about Big Juke. I'm just saying as a whole. Sometimes I think that they keep going and put them, especially when they know that they're going to go to jail sooner or later for what they did. They put themselves in positions where they don't have to go. I think sometimes they'd rather be, unalived than to have to go and face, what they've done, right? And so we saw that, and so we saw people starting to blame Young Dolph's artists for it when it was clear as day when it happened. When I went live, people was coming into my chat, and I don't know who they was, but they was saying it was some street stuff, and it had nothing to do with Young Dolph's artists. And you still hear people saying that. And so when I saw people perpetuating that, because I've always, especially with what they've been through, I've always tried to keep the negativity out of my chat as it relates to his artists. I know people have wanted to blame everybody. They wanted to blame Key Glock. They wanted to blame some of everybody, right? But we always knew exactly, where it came from, and it did not come from Young Dolph's artists. So I never had any issues with keeping that out of my chat, right? Keeping that out of my comments and stuff when you're perpetuating untruths, right? When you know that Young Dolph's artist had already been through enough, but you're perpetuating that his artist or his family or Mia J or somebody like that had something to do with his demise, right? I just could not perpetuate that lie, right? And so when things started to come out, but even before it started to come out, when it first happened, you had people around Memphis talking about where it came from. It's unfortunate that I'm talking about as far as the hit before they even really knew who the shooters were. They was talking about who actually paid for the hit before they knew who the shooters were. I think that they got Cornelius early on. They had Cornelius a whole month before anybody ever knew. And so then shortly after that, I believe around December 15th, that's when an indictment was straight dropped, and he went on the run and all of that. And hey, the rest is history because it was televised, right? And even still at that point, you saw Young Dolph's artists, people was waiting for um them to say something, and they never did say anything. They never did. And that is what caused, because they were silent for so long, that is what started to cause people to create all of these different narratives and stuff like that. And I still stand firm on none of Young Dolph's artists had anything to do with his death. I believe that the people that the DA have indicted, which is Cornelius Smith and Straight Drop. I know I hear a lot of bloggers say free Cornelius Smith and free Straight Drop, okay? That they got the wrong people. But I believe that they have the right people. I do. I believe they have the right people, and they're going to get more people. Now, if the DA changes it and say, well, we made a mistake, the police, and say, these are not the real shooters, hey, then I'll change my mind on that. But even still, with all of the trolling and stuff that had been going on with Young Dolph's artists and all of that, um, when this happened, you heard people when no when uh CEO, I mean when Paper Route Jay Fizzle put out the song Free Straight Drop, you had a lot of people wanting to give him flack about that. I mean, people was mad. They were saying why perpetuate that, as if they had not been for the last 2 years, and I believe it's going on 3 years now. They had not been putting out songs that with subliminals, with dissing Young Dolph, or just flat out dissing him, right? And having his blood cousin to uh do a song, dissing the shooter. Hey, I'm not saying that I agree with violence, but I'm just saying I definitely can understand his frustration. I do. I definitely can understand his frustration. But even still, they've been dropping that hot stuff. They've been doing the darn thing. Hey, making young Dolph proud, doing everything the Dolph's way, keeping his name alive. And I just believe that young Dolph is happy. I just believe it. I believe that Paper Route Empire will be around forever. And if they continuously do it the way that Young Dolph had wanted it done, keeping it fully independent, helping signing other artists and doing it the independent route, helping to create generational wealth without them having to be signed to 3 or 4 way deals, right? To 3 or 4 way deals. I really think that Paper Route Empire will be, more, more than just a record label. It will be known as the label that you go to for creating generational wealth and things of that nature, because they are not enslaved to these record companies and things of that nature. They're not, right? But I just wanted to get on here and flex about, Young Dolph's artists. And that's because I was on Instagram and I was looking at Kenny Money them. And like I said, I believe that Kenny Money has, um, like I said, he has that work ethic, that more in your face type of personality. And like I said, to see that young man come from the back and come all the way up to the front, that makes me very proud. So when somebody can do that, we can come to the back until people recognize you, people saying your name, and I'm talking about worldwide. You do that with your work ethic. Hey, hey, I think this young man is really one of the ones, a force to be reckoned with. And what I say about Key Glock has that quiet situation going on, but hey, Key Glock is already positioned. He's already major, right? Key Glock is already major, regardless of what people say. I stand on that. He is already major, right? And the good thing about it is that Young Dolph put together a group of artists who have they have different talents and things of that nature. You know what I mean? When I say different talents, I'm talking about as far as like their their style of rapping and all of that. You never really get tired of listening to. It's not the same style. You know how some people sign artists and they all got the exact same style. Each and every one of Young Dolph's artists has a different style of rapping, right? So, like I said, it makes me really proud of him. People say, well, I think Keith Lockhead wanted to take Young Dolph's place. He just want to be like Young Dolph. I always said he better that's if he gonna want to be like somebody, that's who he needs to want to be like, because that was his mentor. So when you see that somebody has mentored somebody, you their mentees always carries a part of them, as I've always said. I think it would be offensive if Key Glock was trying to act like a Yo Gotti or a Master P, even though I like Master P, right? But when we see his artists and we see Young Dolph in each and every one of them, it makes me extremely proud. They were the mentees, right? So that's how it's supposed to be done, right? But I just wanted to get on here and pop and pop their collars for them, because I was looking at them on Instagram. I'm really proud of those dudes. And believe it or not, more young men are looking up to them. Young Dolph really handcrafted a thing, and I hate that he was taken out right in the prime, right in the midst of everything, right? Of him handcrafting that and everything, and really building something. The good thing about it is he got to do it his way. He made himself a self-made millionaire. He still built Paper Route Empire, but I believe he was gonna be. I believe Young Doc would have been into movies and everything, because he had the mind and stuff to do it like that. He was just, when you talk about him, when people around, especially street dudes, they say he was a money getting MF. Okay, and that dude was a genius on the low. He was just smart. He just knew how to create a lot of money, right? And so I guess those are the reasons why when I think about that as a Memphian myself, I go, dog, how could why couldn't all of the Memphians work together? And it goes back to that jealousy thing. But you know what? The good thing about it is that he built something and he leaves legacy behind his artist, something for his son. You know what I mean? To be able to carry on if he wants to. Because as I look at his son, I see the maturity in his son, even though his daughter looks just like him, his son has his eyes. As I look at his son, I go, dog, he look at people to cut his eyes just like his dad did. He's always looked like his dad to me, right? And so he has that maturity where he coddles his mother and takes care of his mother, and it's just a seems to be a respectable child. You could tell he misses dad because his dad was such a constant figure in his life, right? And so that's why it's devastating when I think about um um you know when children are the ripped away, or their fathers and their parents are ripped away from them because of violence. But Mia J is doing, you could tell that Mia J is doing, especially having a raising them up on talking about God, and you see them doing their prayers, and she seems to coddle her children and love them and try to keep them in healthy atmospheres and environments, which is a very good thing, right? Which is a very good thing, right? So that little Trey can grow up. He already looks a lot like his father. And if he wants to carry on his dad's legacy, and even though his dad was able to handcraft and make a few millionaires and help some people get some money and turn them onto some game, little Trey will be able to continue that on if he wants to, when he's an adult, right? And finish what his daddy started, right? And then it could just be passed down from generation to generation to generation. He built that for his generations to come. And I like the fact that he had that idea as it relates to his artist. And you could tell that's the exact same thing that his artist is doing, right? But anyways, I just wanted to talk about that, you guys. I want you guys to please like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to support the channel, you could definitely support the channel via Cash App. I love you guys. I'll speak with you later.